Hey everybody, I'm Jason Arsenault, former law enforcement, father and husband, and canine professional.
And I'm Jenna Arsenault, wife, entrepreneur, and coach.
So I just want to, I know you probably have heard my story before, but I used to be a police officer. I was a police officer for about 15 years, and then I went to a call that totally changed the trajectory of my life. I went to a call that created post traumatic stress disorder in me, or post traumatic stress injury, and I was recommended not to go back to policing. So I didn't know what to do. So I went with my passion, which was training dogs, and I started Arsenal Canine Academy. Now, we've grown to multiple locations across Western Canada, and since then, during that time, I met Jenna, who was also in the canine business, in the dog training business, but also had some executive knowledge and ran, some inside stuff in a multi-million dollar company. So when we joined, we learned so much more. I learned so much more. She already knew it. She was worked her way to the top in that corporation, and she brought what she knew to Arsenal Canine Academy, and we have grown ever since. Now, we have wanted to do this for a long time. We still do dog trainer schools, but I wanted to add a step further. I wanted to train dog business owners to help them not make the mistakes that I made when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
And, I made a lot. If you ask Jenna, she came in and totally made a lot of changes and fixed my program. And now we're able to offer this service to many other dog training businesses out there, not just training. So now, in saying that, I kind of want to tell a story about life. Now, we're going to make it a dog story because we're all canine professionals here. So it's going to be involving dogs. And it's going to involve my three favorite breeds. Okay? So the first one is a collie. The next one is a Malinois. The next one's a German Shepherd. So these three fantastic dogs all are out for an adventure. Don't ask me why they're out on an adventure, but they're out on an adventure. And they come across this raging river. Now, this raging river is huge. It's wide. It's got lots of rapids. It looks very dangerous. So they walk along there like, I wonder what's on the other side of that. So they continue down the river, and they finally see a clearing, and they see just piles and piles of meat, dog bones, and toys, and bite suits for the Malinois. It's crazy, right? They're like, wow, that's amazing. How do we get there? How do we get to the other side? The collie looks at the Malinois and he looks at the German Shepherd and he says, I don't care. I don't care what's on the other side. That river's too scary. I'm not going near it. I am not going near that thing. I'm out of here. So the collie turns around and he walks away. He's happy with what he's got and where he is, so he's just going to turn around and walk away. Now the Malinois, we all know Malinois. He's a little crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, that's mine. I'm getting it. There's so many balls over there. There's a bite suit. And he's just like vibrating. So he just takes a few steps back and he just charges. Was running and he jumps. Didn't jump far enough. He landed right in the middle of the river and he's swimming for his life. I gotta get there. But everything, the rapids and everything is too strong for him, and he gets swept away. And he winds up down river and he catches a branch and he pulls himself back up onto the side where he started. No dogs were harmed in the making of this story, just so you know. So he pulls up, he shakes himself off. Whew, that was tough. But I can't do it. I give up. He's gone. Now the German Shepherd, he's a little bit more level-headed than the Malinois and a little bit braver than the collie. So he's thinking to himself the whole time that the collie, had his little meltdown, and when the Malinois freaked out and he jumped in, German Shepherd was kind of walking and pacing back and forth and thinking to himself, how am I going to do this? He pauses. And he takes a few steps down the river and kind of watching where the Malinois went, to see if maybe there's another way he can get through. And then he sees it. There's a rock sticking out of the river, right? So he's okay, looks pretty shallow. I'm just going to jump up onto this rock. So he steps up onto it, and then he looks, and there's a log. It's partway crossed into the river. It's a little bit far, but he thinks he can make the jump. So he takes a deep breath, and he jumps over, and he just catches that log. And he's on this log, and it's partway in the middle of the river. And he sees a few more things, and he starts jumping from log to rock and whatever he can get his feet on, and he finally jumps in, and it's just not quite far enough. He just lands in the water, but he's able to swim. He swims. He's using all his strength, and he makes it. He makes it to the other side, and now he has got everything there. He's got all the balls he wants, the bites, the toys, the meat, the bones, and he's just loving it. And he's laying there, he's chewing on his bones, and he's looking across at the other two that, couldn't make it. So now what's the point of this story? So the point of this story is the river represents life, okay? There's always going to be something in our way to get to where we want to go. Now, the other side where the balls and the meat and the bones, that's all the things that we dream about, right? The cars, the houses, the trips, that financial freedom, everything is over on the other side. But life's in the way, right? So what do the three dogs represent? Well, the collie represents those people who will never ever try to get to that other side. It's too hard. They're happy to be where they are, right? The Malinois, he represents that person, that crazy person who is just so motivated and positive all the time, but they just don't have any direction. They just full force into it.
No plan.
No planning. Now the German Shepherd, he's the one that's a little bit more business-minded, calculated, picks his opportunities where he can, and, make sure it's calculated and safe decisions, and he makes those, and he finally gets to the other side, right? So not that German Shepherds are my favorite breed. I kind of like the Malinois more than the German Shepherd, but their personalities just fit in this story. So I just want everyone to think about that when, you're going ahead in life and you see that, space between where you can't get to where you want to go, where it's dangerous, where it's the unknown. But all of us that are watching this, we're not the collies, right? We all have that idea that we want to get to the other side. We want to see what adventures are ahead. We want that life that we're dreaming of. But we got to go into it calculated. We got to have systems. We got to have processes. We got to have a plan, goals to get there. We can't just go willy-nilly. Otherwise, we're going to end up falling far downstream, and maybe we might get to it eventually, but the quickest route is with a plan. So I thank you guys all for listening to that story, and I hope you caught something from it. If you want more information, you want some help finding a plan, finding some systems and processes, hit us up, send us a message, and we can help you out.